Hello, I'm Essay, your AI essayist. Please note that all content, audio and video in this presentation are AI generated. As AI can sometimes produce inaccuracies, I encourage you to verify any factual information presented. With that in mind, let's begin.
The 1966 publication by William Vickrey, titled Counter-Speculation, Auctions, and Competitive Sealed Tenders, stands as a monumental work in economic theory, a paper whose unassuming title belies the revolutionary concepts developed within its pages. It functions less as a single thesis, and more as a foundational grammar for the entire field of mechanism, design and auction theory. This essay undertakes a rigorous, section-by-section evaluation of the paper's internal claims, arguments, and logical architecture. The analysis will proceed sequentially through Vickrey's exposition, examining the specific mechanisms he details, the evidence and logic he employs to support his conclusions, and the profound intellectual frameworks he constructs. The objective is to illuminate the paper's internal coherence and to assess the strength and originality of its contributions as they were presented, creating a deep appraisal of a text that reshaped our understanding of allocation, pricing, and strategic behavior in environments of incomplete information. Section 1. The initial taxonomy of bidding institutions. Vickrey commences his analysis with a clear and methodical classification of the principal forms of auction. He delineates four primary mechanisms: the ascending bid auction, commonly known as the English auction, the descending bid auction, or Dutch auction, the first price sealed bid auction, and the second price sealed bid auction. His initial claim is that these four structures, while appearing diverse in their procedural execution, form a coherent set for comparative analysis. The evaluation of this claim rests on the precision of his definitions. Vickrey's descriptions are spare and almost mathematical in their purity. He specifies the English auction by its iterative price increases and public information flow. He defines the Dutch auction by its dramatic, single-moment price decrease. The sealed bid formats are differentiated by their payment rule. The victor in the first price variant pays the amount of their own high bid, while the victor in the second price variant pays the amount of the second highest bid. Vickrey's assertion here is one of structural equivalence in terms of the information required from bidders and the allocation outcome, which is always to the bidder with the highest willingness to pay. This initial classificatory act is a crucial piece of groundwork. It establishes a controlled environment for the theoretical experiments that follow, allowing for a focused assessment of how procedural rules alone influence strategic bidding and, consequently, the seller's revenue. The strength of this opening section lies in its disciplined simplification of a complex, real-world phenomenon into a tractable set of idealized models, a necessary first step for the rigorous gamma-theoretic inquiry to come. Section 2. The independent private values model and the revenue equivalence principle. Having established his taxonomy, Vickrey introduces the central theoretical environment for his primary analysis, the independent private values model. Within this framework, he posits a world of risk-neutral bidders, each possessing a personal valuation for the object at auction, with these valuations being drawn independently from a known probability distribution. This set of assumptions constitutes a powerful claim about what aspects of reality are essential for his analysis. The evaluation of this claim is positive in its strategic utility. The model is an elegant abstraction, stripping away complexities like interdependent valuations or risk aversion to isolate the raw strategic incentives at play. It is within this carefully constructed world that Vickrey presents his most astonishing finding, a principle later formalized as the revenue equivalence theorem. He argues, and demonstrates through logical deduction, that all four of his classified auction types yield the same expected revenue for the seller. His methodology is to analyze the equilibrium bidding strategy in each format. For the first price sealed bid auction, a rational bidder shades their bid below their true valuation, balancing the gain from paying less against the increased risk of losing the auction. Vickrey meticulously derives the optimal shading function for the second price sealed bid auction. He makes the groundbreaking claim that a bidder's optimal strategy is to bid their true valuation. He then shows that the expected payment from the winner in both sealed bid formats converges to the same value. He extends this logic to the English and Dutch auctions, demonstrating that their outcomes mirror the second price and first price auctions, respectively. The internal coherence of this argument is formidable. Vickrey's logic proceeds step by step, showing that the expected payment of the winner in each case is mathematically equivalent to the expected value of the second highest valuation among all bidders. The profound implication is that, under these specific assumptions, the elaborate choice of auction format is, from a revenue perspective, a matter of indifference. Section 3 Dominant strategy, incentive compatibility. In the second price auction, this portion of Vickrey's paper isolates and expands upon the unique properties of the second price sealed bid auction, a mechanism that has since become synonymous with his name. His central claim here is one of immense power. The mechanism is dominant strategy incentive compatible. This means that a bidder's best course of action is to submit a bid precisely equal to their true private valuation, and this strategy remains optimal regardless of the strategies or valuations of any other participants. To evaluate this claim, one must examine the ingenious simplicity of Vickrey's proof. He considers a bidder with a specific valuation. If this bidder contemplates bidding an amount higher than their true value, the only scenario where this action changes the outcome is when it causes them to win an item they would have otherwise lost. In this case, the winning bid they submitted is higher than the second highest bid, which itself must be higher than their true valuation. The result is that the bidder pays a price greater than the item's worth to them, securing a loss. Conversely, if the bidder contemplates bidding an amount lower than their true value, the only scenario where this action matters is when it causes them to lose an item they would have otherwise won. In this case, they forego a potential profit, as they would have won and paid a price the second highest bid that was below their true valuation. Thus, any deviation from truthful bidding yields either a worse outcome or the same outcome. The conclusion is inescapable. Truthful revelation is the dominant strategy. This is a claim of extraordinary strength in economic theory, as it designs a system where honesty is the most rational policy, a stark contrast to the complex strategic calculations required in a first price auction. Vickrey's presentation of this finding, couched in careful, formal language, arguably represents the birth of modern mechanism design, demonstrating that one can engineer rules of interaction to achieve a desired behavioral outcome. Section 4 The challenge of collusion and counter-speculation. Vickrey then pivots his analysis to the practical problem designated in his paper's title The Vulnerability of Auctions to Collusion and Speculation. He moves beyond the assumption of independent, non-cooperative bidders to assess how different auction formats withstand strategic manipulation by coordinated groups. His primary claim in this section is that auction formats with public information flows, specifically the English auction, are more susceptible to collusive arrangements. He argues that the open, iterative nature of the ascending auction allows members of a bidding ring to police their agreement effectively. A designated bidder can bid up to a certain level, with other ring members visibly abstaining. Any defection from the collusive plan would be immediately apparent to all, enabling swift retaliation. His evaluation of sealed bid formats offers a contrasting view. He asserts that sealed bidding complicates the enforcement of collusion. In a first-price sealed bid auction, a ring might agree on a single, low bid, but individual members face a potent temptation to defect secretly by submitting a slightly higher bid to capture the prize for themselves. Vickrey further claims that his second price auction presents unique anti-collusive properties. While a ring could still agree to suppress bids, the incentive structure for defection remains, and the payment rule adds another layer of complexity to their coordination problem. This section of the paper showcases Vickrey's keen awareness of real-world bidding behavior. His analysis deepens from pure efficiency considerations to the security and integrity of the market mechanism itself. The claim that transparency can, paradoxically, facilitate undesirable coordination was a sharp and prescient insight, one that continues to inform the design of auctions for public assets where the prevention of cartels is a paramount Section 5 Interdependent Values and the phenomenon of the winner's curse. In a remarkable display of intellectual honesty, Vickrey proceeds to dismantle one of the key assumptions of his own revenue equivalence result. He turns his attention to scenarios of interdependent or common values where bidders' estimates of an item's worth are correlated. This occurs when the item has an objective, yet unknown, value, and each bidder receives a private signal or piece of information about that value. The central claim of this section is that in such a setting, the very act of winning an auction conveys negative information to the winner. This phenomenon, later termed the winner's curse, arises because winning implies that one's own signal was the most optimistic among all bidders. A rational bidder must account for this fact and adjust their bid downwards to avoid systematically overpaying. Vickrey's evaluation of his for-auction types changes dramatically in this new context. He argues that the revenue equivalence principle breaks down. He puts forth the striking claim that the English auction is superior in common value environments. The logic underpinning this claim is that the English auction's public, sequential process reveals information. As bidders drop out, the remaining participants learn something about the signals of others. They can update their own valuation estimate in real time, leading to more informed bidding and mitigating the severity of the winner's curse. Conversely, he claims that sealed bid auctions, by hiding all information until the very end, exacerbate the problem, forcing bidders to make larger downward adjustments to their bids to shield themselves from potential losses. This leads to lower expected revenue for the seller. This part of the paper is a masterclass in academic rigor, as Vickrey himself identifies the precise conditions under which his most famous theorem fails. It demonstrates a deep and nuanced understanding of the informational dynamics at the heart of competitive bid. Section 6 Generalizations to multi-unit auctions. The final major section of Vickrey's work extends his analysis from the sale of a single object to the more complex case of multiple identical units, a problem directly motivated by the practicalities of government treasury bill auctions. Here, he evaluates two primary multi-unit auction formats: the discriminatory price auction and the uniform price auction. In a discriminatory auction, each successful bidder pays the price of their own winning bid. In a uniform price auction, all successful bidders pay the same price, typically that of the highest losing bid or the lowest accepted bid. Vickrey's core claim is that these two formats generate substantially different bidding incentives. He argues that the discriminatory format functions like a collection of first-price auctions, compelling bidders to engage in complex strategic calculations about how much to bid for each unit, leading to demand shading. He then proposes a multi-unit generalization of his second price mechanism, a system where bidders submit demand schedules and all winning bidders pay a uniform price equal to the bid of the first rejected bidder. This is the intellectual precursor to the celebrated Vickrey-Clark-Groves mechanism. Vickrey claims that this uniform price mechanism encourages more straightforward, truthful demand revelation from bidders. Assessing this claim reveals its power. A bidder is incentivized to state their true willingness to pay for each successive unit, as their bid only affects how many units they might win, while the price they pay is determined by the actions of others. The internal logic is compelling, extending the truth-telling property of the single-unit second-price auction into a far more complex environment. This analysis provided a formal framework for a long-standing debate in public finance and offered a novel, theoretically sound solution that remains influential in the design of spectrum auctions, electricity, markets, and government, bond sales. Conclusion. In summary, a close evaluation of the internal claims of William Vickrey's 1966 paper reveals a work of extraordinary intellectual scope and logical integrity. The essay begins by creating a pristine, tractable theoretical laboratory for its clear taxonomy and the independent private values model. Within this space, It delivers the stunning revenue equivalence result and the revolutionary discovery of the dominant strategy incentiver compatible second price auction. Yet, the paper's genius is equally apparent in the way Vickrey then methodically complicates his own initial model. He incorporates the real-world problems of collusion and common values, demonstrating, with an impeccable consistency, how these factors alter the strategic landscape and shift the relative merits of each auction format. His final extension to multi-unit contexts provides a powerful generalization that plants the seeds for decades of future research in public economics and mechanism design. The paper's enduring significance comes not from a single, monolithic argument, but from this complete intellectual journey. It establishes the fundamental principles of auction theory, demonstrates their power, and immediately proceeds to map their boundaries. It is a work that functions as both a declaration of a new science and a cautionary manual for its application, a testament to a scholarly mind operating at the peak of its analytical and creative powers.
We really appreciate you tuning into this AI-powered presentation. Our goal is to push the boundaries of AI in content creation, and your input is invaluable. If there's a particular subject you'd like to see us tackle next, or if you have suggestions on how we could fine-tune our AI's creative prompts, please don't hesitate to leave your ideas in the comments section. We're excited to bring you more unique content very soon.